So, can we play a little bit of Chic just to introduce people to a little bit of it?
Sure.
I mean, I think everybody knows, "Oh, freak out," but I would love to. Like, this to me is like perfect Nile Rodgers guitar joke. Was Good Times, because this is like, if you have gone to a wedding in your whole life ever and you don't hear this song and some of the other ones that you've been a part of, I think that the American wedding should be called the Nile Rodgers ceremony, and like I walk people down the line of why that is. So this is one, right?
Right, and
so it goes.
Just let me stay for the record. We're giving love in a family door. We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up everybody and sing.
And so, what is the difference between that and Good Times? How does So here's what my manager said about it. He's like, no one has ever made a bigger career off their right hand than Nile Rodgers. He's like everything you do is just all about the right hand, right?
Good times. These are the good times. Leave your cares behind. These are the good times. Good times. These are the good times. Our new state of mind. These are the good times.
And so not only that, so okay, there's two songs that if you haven't heard, like in your lifetime, you have been living in probably Australia during the time when they wouldn't let black people move there.
but the records were big there, though.
Okay, so then, which to me is a strange move, but when you say like you have the Sesame Street Band and the Apollo, and then your friend who's the guitar player before you in both those bands, his name is
Carlos Alban.
Carlos. Then he goes and works with he works
with Young Americans, right?
Right, Young Americans. So David Bowie, is this how you're introduced to David Bowie?
No, I use that as the rap. So I was now a party animal. This was the 80s. So people, when they think about my career and they look at all the records I've done and they see how many were done with really big stars, people don't realize the beginning of my career was actually not big stars. It was all me. It was me and my crew. So it was Chic, Sister Sledge, and Norma Jean. And all of those records were platinum, multiple platinum. As a matter of fact, Le Freak is the biggest selling single in the history of Atlantic Records.
Yeah, which
We
is
sold
crazy.
like some-
Bigger than is it bigger than all of the other ones that you've sold? Because I mean, when you get a list of the other things you've sold,
As
like,
a single, it is, yeah.
as a single,
Yeah.
bigger than everything else.
Yeah, because we sold.
Are you still spending that money? You still got that money?
Yeah, I give. I'm a real charitable person, so I give so much of it away.
I just opened up a new charity today called My Left and Right Pocket.
But you know, I have a pretty normal life, so.
I mean, it seems like you, like that's not where you find your joy in making dough. If you did, then you would have called it quits a long time ago.
I
'cause you
always
got enough.
call. I always say that making money from music. Like when I was going to music school, the one thing that was constant was musicians have always been poor, and
Yeah.
when you think about some of the great classical composers, they would get their gigs because a pope would call them up and say, "Hey, I need this," or
Yeah.
a king would call them and say, "Hey, I
Right.
need a chorale or two," or you know, or so and so's getting married and write this, or
Yeah.
you know, or that they would get struck by religion and hire them to
Right.
come in and write some stuff. But most of the time, they were just poor and not really gigging.
Even jazz guys.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
you know, they continued the trend of, and well, anyway.
So, you know, with the exception of a small few, so musicians traditionally have been poor. So I grew up with that mentality. Our lives only changed when we could start making money from music, and you didn't actually have to be there. So
Yeah.
in the
Right.
old days, you
Yeah,
had to
right.
be where you
Recordings.
were, right? Recording when we had recorded music.
Right.
So now you can make money and not be there. You can
Yeah.
sell your record,
Incredible, right?
and like
The
now all
whole
of a sudden you can
licensing.
get rich. Like,
but you understand the process of it. I mean, if you're going to sell soda
right.
because of Nile Rodgers Jam, and that makes people go like, "Holy shit, I want to drink one of these Dr. Peppers."
Right.
That you should benefit from that. I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, if that's
And so,
where you're coming from. Yeah, sure.
As I talk about your right hand, and which I think is probably as valuable as any pitcher has ever had, you know, then you trend into this white guy's music, which I think this David Bowie song, you wrote and produced Let's Dance?
Well, let's say this.
Because when I hear Let's Dance, it's all you.
Yeah. So once again, we have to put things in perspective.
I don't.
I grew up. No. It's important because you see, there's a cultural history. So when you think in terms of music, being a professional musician, I grew up in the era of you had a job as contractor, a job as an arranger. There were all these jobs that went into making records and making
Yeah.
music. So when I first started getting hired, I got hired as an arranger to do scores, to do the charts, to do what they call the sweetening. So they would write the song, and I would do the whatever that part,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and all
yeah.
that, you know, all of the. You know.
So Let's Dance was a song before you put what everyone
Well,
knows
let's
to it?
dance. So here's the deal with that. So when I met David, I used the rap of the Young Americans because they were all living in the same building. They were all like this collective. So David and Luther and Carlos and everybody all lived in the same apartment building. And when they had the Young Americans, so I saw him at this After Hours Club one night, and this was in 1983, and David had lost his record deal, and I had.
Did someone like David Bowie care?
I didn't think so. And I had 6 failures in a row. For me, that was incredible because I was on a real roll from my first record, which wound up being a hit, and then my next record was a hit, and every record was a hit. And then this whole thing, Disco Sucks, happened, and my last number 1 record was Good Times, and that was it. Chic was history at that
Really?
point. Yeah, we never
And
got
was
another.
that devastating to you? Was that scary? Like,
Well-
did all of a sudden you shift from, hey man, I expect to be a poor musician, to all of a sudden, hey, I'm a rich musician, and then that part of things might be over? Or was it more about people might stop listening to what I create?
I never thought about the money. I always thought about the music and the opportunity that the music gives me. Like
Sure.
I get to, I mean, like look at my life now.
Yeah,
I
man,
cannot
crazy, right?
believe it. Like I get
It's
to
crazy.
hang, you know,
I
it's
mean, you
like,
get to be here talking with us.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true though. I was like, I was,
must be a pretty big
I was
deal.
on the side of the stage with you guys, like singing yours. I was like, you know, like so. I mean, my life is so cool now. Like I get to like go on Twitter and like tweet somebody, and they know I'm like, hey man, how you doing? And make records.
Which is
So-
crazy that at 61 you care about social media the way you do. Like you take it seriously. You know, most guys that came up at the same time as you, they push social media away before it even began.
Right.
It was like, I'm not gonna do that shit. I sell millions of records. You know who I am? And then I'm not gonna tweet some bullshit about some whatever.
Well-
but you want to stay connected.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I think you're still on the radio. You're still improving today's music, and you're still a part of it because you care and you hang out with young people.
But once again,
Right?
perspective. Yeah, I hang out with young people because of my charity.
But I mean, you hang out with young people because you're writing songs with Disclosure and it's
Yeah,
Sam
we're
Smith
19
and-
years old.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, they come to you because it's like, hey man, you know how to do this. I need your help. I do it in a different way, in today's way, and you're open to it instead of like, oh no, listen to me, I'm Nile Rodgers. You're like, shit, that's cool. Let's do that.
Yeah, no, I always learn. Everybody I work with, I learn from.
But you know that guys your age don't. Not many.
No,
of them
you're
think
right.
that
You're
way,
right.
And that's what
So many
sucks.
of my friends get stuck in this vacuum.